there's a few different ones, but there's targeting, lookalike audiences, and competitive conquesting is what we call it. But you could target users and viewers, users that have engaged with your competition. That's what we call competitive conquesting. And that's some of the best ways to build awareness of your brand and to kind of break into, building awareness is top of the funnel, beginning of the customer journey. And it's one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't do is they think they have a social media page and why isn't it working? And it's probably because you're not spending any money on it.
Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen. I'm your host. And today we have a very special guest, Nick Kraus, who's an accomplished entrepreneur and business leader, currently serving as the founder and CEO of Kraus Marketing, an award-winning agency known for its exceptional marketing strategy and creative. So under Nick's strategic guidance, Kraus Marketing has achieved remarkable success, earning a place on the prestigious Inc. 5000 list multiple times. And in addition to his role at Kraus Marketing, Nick is the author and recognized thought leader in the marketing and business community, sharing his insights, expertise, and industry trends to professionals seeking to stay ahead in the ever-evolving business landscape. Welcome to the podcast, Nick.
Thank you, Arlen. Appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be specifically diving deep and kind of talking a little bit about scaling on your online store through SEO, social media, and just strategies in general. We're talking a little bit about some of the things you guys have been involved in, and you recently wrote a book. We'll be talking about that a little bit as well. And before we do dive in, you've, of course, built Kraus Marketing into an award-winning agency, as I mentioned, and that's no small feat to be able to get on that Inc. 5000 list multiple times. So definitely, kudos to you guys for sure. But I wanted to know, could you walk us through just your entrepreneurial journey, the highlights, and really what inspired you to start Kraus Marketing, and, how did you scale it to such a success?
I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. So it's, everyone's entrepreneurial journey is a little bit different. It's fueled by different things. Mine was fueled by the fact that I had seen some very successful family members of mine, cousins. My last name is Kraus, which is German, but I come from, my mom's side is Italian, and I come from a big family of entrepreneurs and business leaders, and we're very close with our cousins. And a lot of my cousins, very successful, that are in my generation. I'm one of the youngest in my generation, and I saw a lot of them moving around the country and taking different jobs in different areas and uprooting their families every time they had a new position. And sure, I wanted my family to be from a certain area, specifically New Jersey. And I wanted my kids to, have that, to be rooted in New Jersey. And for that reason, I felt the best way I could do that is to have my own company. So that was kind of my why. That was one part of my why. The second part of my why was I was in a large corporation, and I was a marketing manager there. I was doing really well. I was there for only 5 years, from 22 years old to, just 27 years old. I was running the company on the side, and it was a global corporation. I was getting flown all over the world. I had created a $100 million product category and owned a $100 million product category. And they one day decided they were going to lay off basically a whole entire branch of the company.
Wow.
And I was pulled into a confidential meeting, and they said,
Mhm.
in the next 30 days, we're going to get rid of 490 of the 500 employees, round
Oh,
numbers.
wow.
The 10
Wow.
people in this room are safe. Uh,
Okay.
we will manage the transition from here to Stamford, Connecticut. We were going from New Jersey to Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was in that meeting, and that was heart wrenching for me because now I
Sure.
knew that my friends were going to get laid off. I couldn't talk about it.
Hmm.
Um, but I got that. It was business, but I didn't get the next thing that was about to go down, which was a few days later. I guess money got real tight. This is 2008. This is during the whole
All
entire,
right.
Great Recession. And
Right.
uh, they called a town hall meeting, and where
Mm.
we're all friends and family. And then they told, us that I think it was like the number was like 35 are you getting laid off today by lunch. It's strictly business, nothing personal. Don't talk to your manager. Don't call HR. You'll know by
Mm.
noon if it's you. And
Mm.
unfortunately, it was the oldest people in the company. It was the highest
Wow.
liability in the
Yeah.
company. They all got laid off. And, they were given boxes. Some of them were there for 15 years, given boxes and marched out with security that day. It was just a huge turnoff for me. And
Mm.
I just wanted to have a business that was different, that felt different. And I wanted to take care of people. I also didn't want to dread going into work anymore. So
Right.
that's kind of how I started it. I was working on the side and started off with branding and website design. One of the first websites I did was an e-commerce website.
Okay.
And I quickly understood that just branding and website design wasn't that great of a partnership without helping to drive traffic to my clients'
Exactly.
websites. And I
Yep.
found that a true partnership um, helped them in both ways, and that it was better for me too because I had stickier clients. And
Mm.
once I realized the digital marketing side of the business not only kept clients around longer and made them happier because they were spending and they were spending more money. They were spending more money, and I was making more money. So it was
Mhm.
a huge win-win that just excelled the business. Went through culture, management changes, cash flow things, you name it. I've been
Yeah.
through it. I started the
Right.
company with credit cards, so I
Wow.
could go on for days about all the challenges I've had. But yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't give them up for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. My beginnings are a little similar. We started off our company, OmniStar Interactive, as full service web development as well, early 2000s, and um, yeah, it's we had some of the same understandings that you did as far as, we built a ton of different web apps, e-commerce sites and platforms. And, we were doing some maintenance for them, but we saw quickly that if you don't market, you don't drive traffic to these sites that kind of help your clients to do that, then, they could have the greatest site in the world. It doesn't even matter because nobody's going to see it. They're not going to sell
Yeah.
anything.
Yep.
And, what we decided to do for a little while before we kind of created our own suite of web solutions, because we shifted business into offering affiliate software, is we partnered. We partnered with some different SEO agencies and some SEO. Let's see. I guess you could say SEO resold SEO solutions that we provided to our customers, and we did that for a while. And some of
Mhm.
our main customers had some success with it, but yeah, we learned those same lessons you did early on, and then finally just decided to just, all right, create our own suite of solutions. So definitely know a lot of your stories similar, and a lot of the pains you've had, I'm sure we've had as well. So
Yep.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now, speaking of marketing and kind of all things marketing, specifically SEO, pay-per-click marketing, social media, email marketing, all of that's kind of under digital marketing. For an e-commerce business that's just getting started to get serious about their digital marketing efforts, where do you think they should focus first to get the biggest ROI?
Yeah. So I'll answer it quickly, and then I'll kind of go into it. But email marketing for me, and
Okay.
that's considering you have an email list and a decent amount of clients and customers already.
Okay.
It's a different answer if you've had zero customers.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
but in my book, The Shark Bite Method, I go into basically 5 or 6 different tactics that everyone should be doing. And no matter the size of your company or the budget, you could get them all done. It's website optimization, right? So that is a tactic, optimizing your website for conversions.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is search engine marketing. That's SEO if you don't have budget. It's SEO and pay-per-click if you do have budget. It's social media marketing, and that's very important to understand what channel and social media is best for your customer. And then it's paid media if you do have the money for it. And lastly, it's the email marketing.
Okay.
And that email marketing I find to be really important. At the center of all those is the creative and your content. And if you have a good content calendar of what you're producing on a regular basis, promotional, image wise, case study, new products, whatever that content calendar is, that could be used on all those tactics. You could do it super efficiently. The reason I like email marketing is if you have a large customer base, this is a great way to continue to engage them and raise customer lifetime value. With e-commerce, it's very transactional. You're on Instagram, you buy the retractable hose, but how do you make me a customer again?
Yeah.
Right? So there is a product offering requirement, but you could email me later and make sure that I buy the new the hose sprayer for the end of the retractable hose. You could offer me a 10% discount on Miracle Grow products. You could offer me, I hope you like the hose. Here's 20% off if you buy the next one. A lot of times it does become promotional, but with the right product positioning, and then maybe since they're lawn people, there's different products for different seasonalities. Of course, I'm going off and riffing on just something that I actually bought recently. But how do I turn that from one transaction into a customer that buys from me all year round? I have to create a content calendar, and then I can email them on a regular basis. I can cross-sell them on different products. I can know that their hose breaks every 3 months and that they're going to need a new hose, whatever it may be. I'm creating email funnels to make sure that they're returning to my website, very automated fashion to get it done, really raise revenues. For our biggest clients, it's the highest revenue generator by far is email marketing.
Oh, wow. It's interesting that you mentioned this, and I've had this conversation before with other guests that have been on, specifically about email, because from the outside looking in, from somebody that's not kind of in the business of marketing per se, it seems like there was almost a shift that happened where, I guess you could say maybe 10, 15 years ago or so, email had like was getting a bad rap. There was the issues with the spam, the regulations between, for the service providers. And, this is kind of when social media really was taking off, the Instagrams of the world, Snapchats, all these different platforms. And people, it seemed like they were pulling away from email. A lot of the marketing talk was like, focus on social media, the instant, and then even the, SMS campaigns, all of that was really pushing. Did email really die out for a little bit, or has it always been an effective tool that, companies like you've been using and others?
It may have gotten noisy. It may have just gotten a bad stigma. I think probably the bad stigma, like you said, is more of it. We monitor obviously bounce rates and unsubscribe rates based on how much we're emailing people. But if you have a lot of email funnels, so for one of our clients, they have disposable products that have to be repurchased all the time, right? So we knew based on how long those products could be used, the product life cycle, that a certain email cadence was important. We also knew if they didn't purchase within 2 weeks, that they were likely went to a competitor, because it was it was a product that once you have in your life, it wasn't like you just stopped using it. So we had different funnels based on their last purchase, and they would go from one funnel to the next funnel. And it got very creative with that strategy. And of course, we measured all the bounce rates, unsubscribe rates, and of course, the conversion rates, one of the other most, the positive KPI. And from that, we were able to measure it. And listen, it's for me, yeah, I think it's more of a stigma. But if I asked anybody, even my parents who are in their 70s, have they checked their email today? And they both checked their email today. My dad's retired. My mom's an adjunct professor. They both are in the box today. You know what I mean? So like everyone's, my daughters who are 14, 10, and 9, they have emails that they're in every day. Now they're blocked and guarded by school parameters, but I'm just saying everyone's in their email every day.
Yeah.
I love SMS, by the way. I think it kind of can run parallel, and you got to be careful not to abuse it in a very similar way. But yeah, also a great product or tactic as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I also agree. I think it was more of a stigma than anything, but just from you kind of mentioning those stats, just from the generation spectrum of those that are still daily checking their email, is proof that it's still a valid medium or marketing channel. Now, of course, you mentioned your book, and I mentioned at the beginning you wrote a book called The Shark Bite Method. In that book, you outline a particular framework for running successful digital campaigns. I wanted to know, could you walk us through just one or two specific elements from that method that you feel is effective for e-commerce brands? Hey, before we jump into the next question, I want to take a quick second to talk about something that's been a game changer for so many business owners, including myself. That's public speaking. If you're running an e-commerce brand, marketing agency, or any business, your ability to communicate clearly and confidently can really make all the difference. Whether you're pitching to investors, speaking at conferences, or even just creating content that connects with your audience. That's exactly why I created SpeakToEmpower.com, a coaching program designed to help you master public speaking without fear. You can start with my free 10-day course where I walk through essential strategies to overcome nervousness, engage in the audience, and speak with confidence. And if you want to go even deeper, I offer weekly virtual group coaching sessions and one-on-one coaching tailored to your needs. So if you've ever felt like you could be more confident on camera, on stage, or even in day-to-day business conversations, head over to SpeakToEmpower.com and get started for free today. All right, now back to the episode.
Yeah, so I would go, like, if I were to tell you to pick up that book and learn anything from it, it is the creation of a content calendar. A lot of us are not traditional. A lot of entrepreneurs are not traditional marketers, and they don't understand for that reason how to create a content calendar. If you know what, so I got the original content calendar idea, less from traditional marketing school, but from my days after creating my company, from large publications like Entourage or Entrepreneur Magazine or Inc. 5000. If you wanted to get a client in them, you would call and you would get their content calendar. They knew what each magazine's main topic was going to be for the whole entire year. And they would give you the 12-month content calendar. If you have that same thing for your business, what your content's going to be like on a monthly basis for a year, then you could work into more detail what it's going to be on a weekly and daily basis. Okay. And so first planning is figure out what the quarterly topics are. From there, what are the monthly topics? From there, what are the weekly topics? And start with a 12-month calendar, and then 3 months at a time, break it down into weekly content so that you can hand that off to someone on Fiverr. You can hand it off to your high-level marketing agency, depending on your budget, or you do it yourself and you do it at bite-sized pieces. But if you have that plan, what I find is the least efficient thing is waking up every day and trying to figure out what you're going to promote, what you're going to post on social, what you're going to write a blog about. The procrastination happens because you have no plan and you don't have a strategy if you're waking up every day and doing that. If you have a strategy, then you're just waking up and executing. So
Mhm.
that content calendar creates that strategy. Now you've just figuring out, again, whether you're publishing it on your website, publishing it on social, whether you're creating a video, long form content, short form content, email marketing. If you have that calendar, now you're just figuring out how it goes into the tactics. But on a
Yeah.
monthly or 3 month basis, is what I'm saying, is you're breaking down that detail 3 months in advance of all those
Yeah.
tactics. So again, you're just executing. You're doing it 2 months in advance of that month. So right now, for most of our clients, we're working on July and
Mhm.
August content. Of course,
Oh,
things
okay.
come up, things change,
Yes.
uh, but we're working on July and August content, and that could be change, but uh, it's it's that to me is just as important as that strategy, and that content plan is just as important uh, as any given tactic. Because what I find
Okay.
the biggest thing is people aren't consistent, and if you're
Yeah.
not consistent, then you're not making an impact. And that's kind of what we teach through the book, is how to create an efficient, consistent plan.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And I see that across so many things that small businesses are involved in. It's that consistency. And from my conversations that I've had with other e-commerce businesses, talking about a marketing calendar or plan, I think what a lot of businesses, the reason why they shy away from it is and you mentioned something really good. They think maybe it's okay. I don't want to do it because, I don't want to be so rigid with what I'm going to do. Things change. You never know what's going to happen during the holidays. I may want to switch things up. But what you mentioned is you don't have to have it that tightly defined, as long as you've got a general outline of the, kind of the topics or the direction you're going to go. You have that down, and, you're at least committed to that. And then, like you said, on a week to week basis, you can, adjust things based on what's happening in your business, based on what's going on, as it's related to your business. So I think saying it like that makes it something I think most businesses can at least attempt to do.
Yeah,
And
it's a flexible calendar and plan, and every strategy should be flexible.
right.
But what we as entrepreneurs think is, I didn't start a business so I could have all these steps and all these processes, and
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest reasons that entrepreneurs don't succeed,
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
they think that they got to be creative and innovative every single day, and it's just not
Hmm.
true. You want
Yeah.
to be a good business person. The best entrepreneurs have set processes, and they know what's the most efficient thing,
Hmm.
and they utilize those efficiencies to improve profit margins, and then
Yeah.
that's how they could scale.
Yeah, exactly. You still have to stick to those processes no matter what. And you can be creative all at the same time. Now, I'm sure you've seen it all, being an agency and trying a variety of strategies for different industries and just being in marketing in general. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the mistakes and the pitfalls that brands make with their digital marketing strategies. What would you say are some of the most common ones that you've seen, and how would a brand avoid them?
Yeah, I think the most common for small companies is, and actually large, it's really small and large. It tends not to be the mid-sized companies. Is like their stick to itness. They tried marketing for a little bit,
Yeah.
and they say it doesn't work, and so they stop. And then they try
Okay.
again because they get a new person in, a new VP of sales, a new
Yeah. Yeah.
marketing director, and they try it for 6 or 9 months, and they don't see an ROI. It's always perceived value, right? Because there's a value there.
Hmm.
And then they stop. So the biggest mistake is consistency or lack thereof. For e-commerce specifically, I would say another big issue is just the anatomy of an e-commerce website. Uh,
Okay.
Product imagery, product titles, product short description, long description, uh, is not paying attention to those those best practices of
Hmm.
e-commerce website, and they wonder why it doesn't convert. And for us, that's one of the most important things. Is there is best practices. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
If you do those, you still have to have the right product at the right price point, and you still have to drive the consumer there. But you could have the right product at the right price point, and you have the customer hitting that page, but it never converts. And the reason why is because the anatomy of your website isn't
Hmm.
correct. The best practices aren't utilized. So I would say that that's an easy second
Okay.
factor.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. You can't skip those best practices because I've seen some pretty awesome products or products that I've seen that are really good. And then when I go to their website, I'm like, wow, it's just like a nightmare navigating to certain things, and
Yeah.
their messaging is kind of off, the whole structure is off, and you're like, oh, it's unbelievable. You would think it would be a lot better because they have solid products, but
Yeah.
it's a mistake a lot of brands make.
Yeah. And conversely, you could say that you've been to a lot of websites that are selling a Me Too product at a similar
Yes.
price, but you buy it because the messaging was perfect. You
Mhm.
knew exactly what you were getting, and you trusted the website consciously or subconsciously enough to go ahead and make that purchase there as opposed to anywhere else. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of a good website, is it, consciously or subconsciously, you decided to make your purchase there. Unique product or a Me Too product.
Yeah.
It needs to be right.
Yeah, for sure. Now currently our whole technological landscape is changing so quickly. We've got AI, we got automation, all these privacy changes that are coming up. What do you see, or what trends do you see that are shaping the future of digital marketing for e-commerce in the next 2 to 3 years that we should be aware of?
Yeah, so I mean, AI is obviously going to be huge. It's going to put a lot more content in front of a lot more people, uh, and it's going to be easier to create content. However, you still got to make sure it's content that um, it makes sense for the targeted individual, the targeted audience.
Hmm.
So good marketers and good creatives are still going to be required, and good
Okay.
strategists are still going to be required. What AI will allow us to do is do a lot of things a lot quicker, and
Right.
but it'll also give us a lot more competition. So we're going to need to be just as creative and just as different then as we are now. Which, if you look at now compared to 15 years ago, it's amazing how much more content and how much we have to cut through all the noise to get to our target
Mhm.
audience. It's just
Yes.
going to be even tougher as time goes on.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. The competition is definitely going to get more fierce. And when you're speaking of creative, on the creative side of things, brands overall look and feel now is really starting to get better because of AI. And the latest updates, of course, with ChatGPT. I was on a YouTube channel, and this guy was going through some of the changes, and yeah, it's amazing. And I even tried it myself for a particular brand. He was selling a cold brew beverage, and what he did is he just with a prompt generated a really realistic picture of a person holding this particular product, this cold brew brand, in a kitchen setting. And if you were to look at it, you could not tell that that wasn't a real person, and it wasn't seamlessly, they weren't actually holding the product, but, just within a prompt that was generated within about a minute, it was a super realistic photo. And I think all of those things are really it's going to improve things. It's going to help the end user's experience. But like you said, at the same time, it's going to make the competition a lot more fierce because you're going to have so many brands that, has a really good aesthetic look, and are going to be able to do these things, create these ads at a pace like they hadn't been able to before. So it's pretty
Yeah,
exciting.
agreed. And not to say the cliche, but to say it, this is the worst it'll ever be. Right? It's only getting better
Right.
from here.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 years old, this baby. So
Yeah.
just another 2 years. 2 years ago it couldn't write that great of content. Now it could write the content in your exact brand voice and is
Mhm.
creating images. And then we got VO that just came out a couple days ago. So I mean, you got so many things happening with AI. I think it's just grab
Mhm.
a hold of it and use it to the best you can to really make your brand different than everyone else, and do it
Yes.
first. Don't be a follower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, as we get ready to wrap things up, I'm always a huge into tools and resources and training, anything that can help a business, get their job done easier. What are some tools or resources that you've used or you've part of your team has used or platforms that you could recommend for e-commerce businesses that are just specifically looking to sharpen their digital marketing efforts so overall today?
So we're making Chrome extensions that could scrape the web and
Okay.
scrape, yeah. So that could scrape pricing, descriptions, and keywords. So those are
Okay.
some like custom extensions that you can create
Hmm.
that, as opposed to using a third-party tool that you have to pay for, you
Yeah.
can kind of create yourself using AI now. So
Yeah.
that's
Sure.
that's pretty cool. Um, and yeah, I mean, really kind of like the normal ones. I mean, we use Canva, we use
Hmm.
Hootsuite, we use
Yep.
some of the normal ones. That most of our analytics are done on just on GA4. Love it or hate
Yep.
it. It's we create our custom dashboards, and that's where we keep our track of our KPIs. Klaviyo is probably our biggest used email tool, maybe then
Yep.
HubSpot after that,
Okay.
and then. Yeah, but the more common stuff than you probably think.
Hmm.
You know, WooCommerce and Shopify are the most common two e-commerce that we utilize. What's the most common that
Okay.
you build on?
Yeah, definitely WooCommerce for sure. Shopify, we're partners with
Yeah,
both. We have apps in their app store. Um, up and coming, or not really up and coming. Another huge one now, of course, is the Wix platform,
right.
which they've been doing a lot of big things as far as their whole. They started off on just making their whole process super easy for just anyone with like no tech experience to be able to get online, select a template, create an online store, start selling within minutes. And I think in a way they've been kind of leaders that have been kind of pushing a lot of these no code platforms and have made it super easy for anybody to get out there and start selling. So I think that's this whole wave of these no code platforms I think it's just pretty interesting, and I think that's kind of where everything is going.
Yeah, I think the other one that I'd be remiss not to mention is that social media marketing. I think one of the biggest mistakes is that a lot of people think that it's free, and just really
Yes.
it's just it's a pay to play platform. Whether you're
Hmm.
paying influencers or you're paying for lookalike audiences or targeting. Um, Promoting your product and actually paying is really important, especially for new brands, because you're not going to
Yeah.
have a follower count. But even if you
Hmm.
have 10,000 followers, any given post is mostly hidden from 95%
Exactly.
of those followers, especially if
Very
you don't
true.
get that great of engagement. So
That's
one thing
true.
to know is that if you want to build awareness about your brand, is have some type of social media marketing budget that
Hmm.
you're actually spending money. Uh, and there's a few different ones, but there's targeting, lookalike audiences, and competitive conquesting is what we
Hmm.
call it. But like you could target uh, users and viewers and com- uh, users that have engaged with your competition. That's what we call competitive conquesting, and that's some of the best ways to build awareness of your brand and to kind of break into building awareness is top of the funnel, beginning of the customer
Yep.
journey, and it's one
Yep.
of the biggest things that a lot of people don't do is they think they have a social media page and why isn't it working, and it's probably because you're not spending any money on
Exactly. Yeah. You have to pay. I mean, years and years ago, maybe it was possible to drive, to get some type of engagement or and conversions from there without paying. But nowadays, yeah, you're right. Your posts are going to literally be hidden unless you
it.
unless you do pay. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, Nick, this has been an awesome conversation. I definitely have learned a ton. I know our listeners and viewers have as well. But yeah, lastly, before we do let you go, to wrap things up on a fun note, what's one closing fun fact about yourself that you think our audience would be surprised to know?
Well, I already used that we started the company with credit cards. The fun fact, uh, the second most fun thing I do than my family. So top three things I do in life is spend time with my family,
Yep.
horseback ride. So
Okay.
an avid horseback rider. And number three is business. So probably the
Okay.
horseback rider would probably be a lot of people don't know about me.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's been a while since I've ridden horses way a long, long time ago. Unfortunately, I kind of have a horror story when it comes to horses. When I was younger, I think when I was a teenager or middle school age, I went to a summer camp, and wow, they stuck me with this horse that was just I don't know what was going on. It was irritable. It had some issues, and I got on it. I don't know if it sensed my nervousness or something, but it just bucked. It took off. And like, oh man, I think I saw my life flash in front of me. I thought I was going to get thrown off, but they were able to get it under control. And after that, they put me with the oldest horse that they had, which was even more a nightmare, but I won't get into the details of that. This horse, let's just say this horse had some digestive problems. And so it was a nightmare.
Everyone's got a horse story. Most of them are bad, to tell you the truth. So
yeah.
Not too uncommon.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. But I'll have to go back to it at some point. I'm not saying I would never do it again, but maybe.
Well, if you find yourself in New Jersey, you let me know.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. Well, thank you, Nick, for sharing that. I appreciate that. And of course, lastly, before we do let you go, for our listeners and viewers, I want to reach out to you or your team and pick your brain any more about any of these subjects, or even grab your book. What's the best way for them to reach you?
KrausMarketing.com, best way to reach us, and the Shark Bite Method available on Amazon.
All right, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We'll have the links to both of those in our show notes, as well as on the website. And Nick, it's been a pleasure. It's awesome talking to you. We really appreciate you coming on the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast.
Thank you, Arlen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level, but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.